like the attention span is too short? Have you felt the opposite? Have you felt that people almost like need what you're offering more because there is so much instant gratification? I'm just wondering about like how you see your ways of expressing music reacting with the times as they've gone on.
Well, I think that I don't really notice it. You know, I mean, and this is really weird because of course I know that TikTok are these little things with guys playing really fast and women playing really fast for 2 seconds. I don't take it seriously because I already know what I like, and not just what I like, what I consider to be great. You know, and because both Bill and I have been around greatness, and that's never going to wear off of me. And I don't think of Bill because we've been lucky enough to be around that. And it might, at this point, be something that's not as out there in the world. But luckily, you know, both Bill and I can play and do our thing. And I think for me anyway, I aspire to that other thing that I've known about my whole, you know, since I started in my 20s to wake up to some really what's happening. And then when you play with some people that can, what we say, really play, you know, which doesn't mean just really play your instrument, but means communicate in that way with a band and make something happen. And that changes you, you know. So those same values are just part of me, and I can't shake it, you know. If I was asked to join the TikTok world, I wouldn't be able to, you know? I'd blow it, you know? But you guys got it. Go ahead, TikTok out, I don't care.
That's amazing. Bill?
I think I hear what you're saying. No, I feel lucky that I think for both of us that there's, like when we make a recording, it's not, when you make an album, it's a snapshot of this one moment, and the music is constantly evolving. From the next minute, it's something else. And so I think this is true for you. You know, when we go do a gig, it's like every gig is a step into the unknown, hopefully. It's not, you don't quite know where you're going, and I feel lucky that there's some kind of an audience that's willing to go along with, rather than expecting it to be a copy of what the last recording was. A recording is such a weird thing, you know, it freezes time, and then you can't, it doesn't feel right to me to just try to recreate that on a gig. So I feel lucky that the audience understands that, and sometimes they don't, but that's kind of a drag. But if they, you know, how come you didn't do it like the record? Well, I forgot. You know? So really, I mean, talking about Ron Carter, like recording, it is weird. It's like I've recorded with Ron Carter a few times, and I did an album with him and Paul Motion, a trio album, which to me was like this, it was a huge moment in my life, getting these guys together. And you know, they had actually played once in the early 60s or something, but to me it was like this huge thing. And then a few years after that, I was talking to Ron, and Ron says, did we ever record with Paul Motion? You know, I was like, what? How could you not remember that? But then I'm thinking, you know, it was only a few hours of one day, and he went and did that, and then he went and he played with Hank Jones, and then he went and did this, and then he did that, and it was just a momentary thing.
I think we realize, you know, that it's just like life. You know, we're all here going day to day, talking, and sharing ideas with each other and getting through the day. Turns out music's just like that. And you know, each day is different. You don't know what's going to happen. And probably when Bill and I can only speak for myself, but I believe Bill would feel the same way. You know, when we realize that, it takes so much pressure off because it's just, here we are, you know. And you make that record and you try and make it as good as you can, but you don't try in the pop way of overdubbing a lot. You know, I mean, I've given up on that pretty much. And you know, it's just a snapshot that's hopefully good. And that takes a lot of the pressure off that, you know, you can move on to the next record.
I feel like we've both been lucky with that too, that we're able to do it again and just keep trying and trying to get it, you know.
So lucky with record business that both of us were there when these companies would say, oh, make another one.
They pay you, right? They pay you.
And you
to
get
make
paid.
records, right? Yeah, it's interesting that now we make records for companies like Spotify and Apple and Tidal, and they don't pay for the record to be made, right? I mean, it's interesting. I know you all know that, because most of you are musicians. It's like not only do they pay you less every time someone listens to you. I was thinking of that when we were playing tonight. Madison said, hey, I have my vinyl over there. I'm an independent artist. That's how I pay my rent. And I was thinking, wow, if someone buys one vinyl for her, that's the equivalent of like 20,000 streams. The payout, right? Something like that. Yeah, like $35. I think you'd need tens of thousands of people would need to listen to your music for the equivalent of one vinyl sale at a gig, right? And it's different because back in those days, not only did the label pay you when you sold records, they also paid you to make the record, right? They'd cover your studio, they'd recoup it, but they'd front it. And in today's era, it's like we're really kind of out at sea with no life preserver.
It changed.
It changed.
Yeah. It was the age of steam, you know. And then the diesel things came in and it just changed.
Does anybody have any questions?